It's my birthday. We're gathered here to celebrate me. It's my birthday.
Like
Pisces King.
You're listening to the Aftergrad podcast. My name is Victoria.
I'm Robert Kane, and we're your fellow aftergrads trying to find clarity and security in the postgrad moment.
On this show, we discuss the societal pressures that stand to mold us into inauthentic versions of ourselves as we strive to make our dreams a reality.
We welcome you on this journey as we navigate the pandemic, bills, careers, and who knows what else.
But today, we're celebrating Kane's birthday! He's turning 23.
Thank you, friend.
And in celebration, we are going to reflect on Kane.
Yes.
We're going to hear from him what 22 feels like, what 23 is kind of sort of looking like.
Right, what I hope to see for 23.
Yes.
Just looking back at life and what had happened. What happened in 22 and what's going to happen in 23. So I hope. And I mean, I guess the idea is just to take a look back, right? I think as we turn another year older, it can be nice for us to just take stock of our life, to think about what happened, to think about where we're going, where we're at. And I think a lot has happened, right? I mean, we've been in a pandemic. There's been so much violence. There's been so much uncertainty for our lives, right?
But today, I'm just going to focus on you.
Yes, thank you,
We're going to hear from you, your
Yes.
story coming up to this moment right now. It looks a lot different than most.
Right, and it looks a lot different. I mean, if I'm speaking personally from what I initially imagined 22 would feel like, if I'm thinking back to when I was 20 in university, studying abroad, taking my classes, trying to get the diploma and everything, it definitely looks totally different.
Exactly.
Right?
We were kind of robbed of 21.
Oh, I was definitely robbed of 21.
All
for
of us
sure.
were.
My 21st birthday amounted to a glass of wine in the Dean of Students office on my university campus. That was
cheers
it.
to leveling up.
Cheers to leveling up. I definitely would say 22 was better, right? And hopefully 23 is just going to be even better.
Yeah.
That's the idea. That's what we hope. We're trying to grow. We're all for development up in here.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's, I guess a lot of it has been uncertainty, right? I think the theme...
That's the word for everyone.
For everyone.
No matter what age.
Right.
It's like uncertain.
Uncertain, unsure, lots of insecurities too. And then I want to say for me, I think 22 was about a lot of resilience. It was about being adaptable. It was about being flexible, just because we have these ideas of what 22 could look like, should look like, what it should feel like.
But what did 22 unfold to and reveal to you that was more certain for those of them, or for people who are turning 22, right? And then maybe for those who are already 23, they want to hear, you're
what I
joining
hope
the
to
crew.
do, what am I doing?
Yeah,
I'm joining the crew, what am I bringing to the table? Well, I think 22, I think what it revealed to me is just you have to be prepared for quite literally anything. You can have these ideas of what your life will turn out to be, but life is crazy sometimes, and life will want to hit you over the head and drop you down a few pegs, right? And you just got to be prepared for it, and you got to be ready to bounce back. You have to plan for, honestly, situations that you can't even perceive, because I think that's what's happened to everyone. There's been so much unemployment. I experienced unemployment, and being an undergraduate who was trying to work towards a particular goal of gaining financial security for myself, being unemployed is not the vision. It's not the look. It's not what anyone wants to endure, and
not anything anyone graduating kind of expects.
And what we expect and what is imagined for ourselves. I mean, the whole concept of going to the university and getting the diploma is that you come out with a job. You come out with financial security, right? Because you have the backing of an institution supporting you. You have the learnings. You have the alumni network. All of these support systems that are supposed to be giving you a push forward. And while they are there's so many nuances to the situation that we don't speak about oftentimes, and I think 22 definitely showed me a lot of those nuances.
A show or two ago, we discussed what kind of our idea of what 21 looked like, right? And then we also didn't know what 22, 23, 24 looked like. And now we're hitting 23. We were robbed of 21, but we definitely got to live a little in 22. And so looking back, how do you feel? Do you feel like there's a difference between 21 and 22?
Yeah.
can we even stand to say what 21 was like? No. I have to say no because we were in the pandemic. I don't think we lived 21 to the fullest.
Yeah,
but
no,
22, things started to settle down a little bit, and we were able to move and wiggle a little bit more, coming out of college, kind of deciding what's next.
Yeah. There was a lot of uncertainty around that period too, because I think I had a lot of expectations around what I wanted 21 or 22 to feel like. And looking back when I was in undergrad, there were a lot of ideas about what I thought my period after graduating would look like.
Yeah.
And that included having a job that fulfilled me, that included traveling a little bit. I had studied abroad a little bit, and I was hoping that we would do international travel a little bit more. And it was great because we actually had the chance to do our Tulum trip, which definitely allowed me to live out some of the exciting moments that you somehow imagine for yourself after you graduate. You get that diploma. It's supposed to be an exciting period. You just crossed another milestone in your professional development, in your academic journey, and your journey of life. So it's supposed to be a period where you're looking forward to a lot. And as we've all experienced, the pandemic has taken so much of that excitement out of it. There's been so much uncertainty. There's been a lot of events that we just didn't simply prepare for. And I guess one situation is that I'm thinking about in regards to my financial stability, right? There were many things that I had to do leading up to graduating when I was 22. Where I was trying to make sure that I had financial stability, making sure that I was well off for myself. And in that moment, I would do things like apply to certain positions on campus, and one of those positions was me being a resident assistant. And this particular position, it was very near and dear to my heart. I loved the work, but also I've always been a person to try and plan for uncertain events, even in the midst of things going the way that I want them to. And the really cool thing about this particular job was that it just had a really nice, strong salary. It was very healthy. I was getting a lot of money from the work that I was doing and the support that I was offering residents in my community, right? And with that, obviously, as we then tried to embark on the journey of moving and the journey of trying to figure out what this post-grad, after-grad moment would look like for ourselves, I think it was great having that type of financial security, me saving that money in the midst of the pandemic for me to be able to then make that transition. And it's something that I did in light of the pandemic, but it was just something that I felt like I needed to do. Right?
So like 22 seemed like the hustle period a little bit, sounds like.
It definitely, yeah. I mean, it was definitely filled with hustle, but I think the hustle didn't exactly feel the way that I imagined it, right? So maybe if I'm thinking back to myself when I was 20, when I was 20, I was studying abroad. I spent an entire year abroad, and I guess I had images of what 22 in my post-grad experience would look like, and I've always been one to hustle, right? I've always been one to work hard, and that's never going to change. That's always going to be a part of my existence, but I definitely placed a lot of pressure on myself to have things planned out. And I guess that is a good thing because we have been experiencing situations where you just can't simply plan for. You can't plan for a global pandemic. You can't plan for being unemployed for a certain period of time. Those are things that, yes, we're told that we should consider, right? But you can't always think, okay, yeah, I'm going to be unemployed from this period of time. You just live, and when those moments happen, then you just adjust and you plan as best as you can, right? And I definitely think that reflecting on in the past, I guess, when I was 20, I had this mentality of everything needed to be checked, everything needed to be outlined, and that outline needed to match the reality that I would then live. So if I needed to have a marketing position at this name company, right, I needed to have that come through. Otherwise, in myself, I would feel as though I was failing or I wasn't achieving the goals that I had planned for myself. And so I guess, 22 was really a period of adjustment. It was a period of being flexible. It was a period of just showing myself lots of grace and being just honest with where the world is at, where I'm at, right? Because at the end of the day, we have so much life to live, and we can't always place so much pressure on ourselves to be where we think we should be. We just have to live in the moment. And I think that 22 was definitely a moment where I shed a lot of expectations for myself. I allowed myself to just be free, live in the moment, take things as they come, not put so much pressure on myself. I mean, those are a lot of themes that I think I'm taking from 22 and hoping to improve and utilize, and as I move into the year of like 23 for myself.
I like that. No, I relate a lot to that, but I do want to add as well, I think this moment, and maybe it is because of the pandemic, that our reflection on 22 can look a lot different than someone else who already lived 22 before the pandemic. But for me, it's like what you're saying, and then what I did get, despite everything that did fall apart, I cherished it. I give myself more time to say thank you. Like, because the pandemic it is still amongst us,
right?
But in terms of just being able to go out and see another friend and feel okay, to have a shot or a vaccination that can allow me to travel, to go to Tulum, despite other countries being closed off and me wanting to go to other places around the world. So though a lot of things was taken away, the things that I was still gifted within this year, I'm so thankful for. So I think 22 was the year was like, woo, thank you.
Thank you that we made it.
Right.
Thank you that we're here. Thank you that we're breathing and able to keep
exactly.
pursuing.
Because I also began to think of where I come from, and I'm from Oak Cliff, and a lot of people don't see themselves living past 23. And so that's another, aside from the pandemic itself, that's an area where I'm like, this is a time where like I know people who died right now, right? And so 22 has been the year of thankfulness and also in alignment with like adjusting,
right?
Being happy with what has taken place,
right? And what has taken place looks so different from what I want to speak personally from what I imagined
we
it to
talked
be.
about that before.
We've mentioned that. Yeah, we've mentioned that multiple times.
We thought we were gonna. I thought it was gonna be in China.
Out of the country immediately. I thought I was going back to Europe, of course. But here we are in DC. Never imagined myself living here of all places, and it's been all right for the most part. But I totally agree with that. Gratitude, thankfulness, and just hopefulness too. I think 22 for myself was just a period of me being hopeful for better days, because I think that a lot of it was the pressure that I was experiencing too, because I don't think there's ever a rule book for how to make a transition to, and then there's not a rule book on how to make a transition from college to adulthood in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of so much hate, in the midst of the
fact that we're kind of creating that in a kind of a way. It's
exciting. I mean, we're living in the midst of history, and we're creating in the midst of history, so that the people that come after us have something to reflect on and something hopefully to utilize as they make their transitions in the years to come. And
so what piece of advice do we have for those who are possibly about to turn 22?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to start with a piece of advice that I've had to swallow, and I think I've given myself, and I've definitely heard people and mentors of mine share with me. I think you just always have to be prepared for things to go to hell, quite literally.
It's keeping it an open mind for me. And I used to say that casually, I'm so open-minded.
Right. But actually, like, internalize that.
Right. But really, like, stay true to, I can move if this doesn't happen, what I see for myself.
Yeah.
For 22, it's like, be open to saying yes to things as well. Things that you normally would not have chosen for yourself. Just try it.
Right.
Because 22, it's a great time to test, to experiment as you are right now, before the debt, before the...
Fail quickly. Please, make those mistakes. I encourage that. Absolutely. Make those mistakes right now so that you can learn from them and you can get to where you want to get quicker in the long term.
Branch out too. Be like, find new people, outside of your circle. Not saying dump your circle. I'm just saying put yourself out there, and sometimes put yourself out there by yourself, not with someone holding your hand or going with you to venture out and to meet different people, because meeting different people then introduces you to the new things.
Right.
Like, living out 22, coming into 22, make sure that the things that you're doing right now that you feel like it is for your future, make sure it's for you. Like, ask yourself, those, like you said, getting to know yourself.
Right.
Look in the mirror
Literally.
and ask.
Do an Issa Rae moment.
Right.
Sit there and have a mirror conversation.
Really,
Chit chat with
really.
yourself.
Do you really like what you're doing right now?
Yeah.
How are you feeling? Girl, are you really tired?
Yeah. This isn't giving. Come on.
It's not giving. You know it's not
Toss
giving.
it out.
Just
Toss
because
it out.
homegirl's doing it doesn't mean you need to do it
Why
too.
are you doing it? Did someone tell you to do it? Or
Right.
did you actually put yourself in the position to want to do it?
Finding that inner voice
Yeah.
in 22. If you have he, she, or they in you, like, and you listen to that spirit, moving forward
Trust
as we
it.
get older, and you'll just trust it even more because you'll
Right.
see it only takes you to more greatness.
Yeah.
It leads you to where you're supposed to be.
Absolutely.
Not where somebody else is.
Yeah. Time is so short too, so that's all the more reason to have those conversations now so that you can just learn yourself quicker and you'll be able to make better choices for yourself, and you won't find yourself in positions that you're forcing yourself to do something out of spite and you're not excited about it because that's simply, I mean, we've talked about that before. We don't want to do that.
Right.
Right. Lay the foundation now so that you don't have to deal with that in the future, and you know what you will take and you know where you want to be and the places in which you want to see yourself in the future.
Yeah.
And on that note too, I guess in regards to seeing yourself in specific places, I think one thing that I've been talking to myself about is, we're living in this digital culture, we're living in this world of social media, right? And I do want to reflect and kind of talk about my relationship that I've been having with social media as of late. It's been something that I've worked through and something that I think I'm getting to a perspective on that's more healthy for myself. In the past, I think I would always want to give somewhat of like main character energy on social media, and not to say that I still don't, but I think it's so tempting to want to have that persona, right?
Yeah.
On social media, to want to go travel and to show people what you're doing, to do the brands and things like that. That's all really cool. But for myself, I really want to focus and prioritize on learning, right? I want to prioritize my energy on learning about the spaces that I hope to inhabit in the future. And I think in regards to social media... So that means
you're letting go of social media in general?
So not letting go of social media. Social media is always going to be a part of myself, but I think that I'm not pressuring myself to post. I'm not pressuring myself to engage on social media. If anything else, it's going to be a platform for myself to learn and connect with people, but it's not necessarily going to be, at least in the immediate time frame, a space for me to, I guess, build a platform, at least right now, right? I really want to learn from other people who have walked in the shoes that I want to walk in the future, so that when I get into a room and when I get into a certain space, I know the value, right, that I can add. And this is really going back to an article that I recently read by a friend of mine, Baishal the Zillennial. If you haven't checked him out, you should. Basically, he's talking about being a student of the game, right? And I think it's important for us as young people to think about what we want to say and why we want to say it, because otherwise we're just talking. We're not adding value. And for myself, even as in the midst of us creating this platform for ourselves, obviously it's a brand. It's something that we're putting energy into, and we're trying to build a community, and that involves social media, right? But we're both entirely aligned on why we are sitting in front of this camera every other week to do a podcast, to try and pour into people and hopefully meet other people who are walking a similar journey. And for myself, that's my top priority as far as social media is concerned. And, if you asked me maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, that wouldn't necessarily be my perspective entirely. It would have been more so me being a media studies student. Of course I have to be on social media, and of course I need to be posting, and of course I need to be engaging 24/7 on these platforms because that's a part of my industry. But it's become so hectic and it's become so chaotic. So anyways, as it relates to me and what I'm hoping to bring into 23 for myself, it's going to be more reading. It's going to be more learning and listening.
What are you letting go?
What am I letting go? The need and the pressure to post and to perform on social media platforms, at least in the immediate, right? I'm letting go of that expectation. And the expectation for me was being someone that wants to go into marketing, photography, and media production. I just simply felt as though I needed to be on these platforms in a particular type of way. And now I'm very comfortable saying that no, I don't think I need to, and I don't think young people should feel the need, especially young people who are creative and who are trying to express themselves. I don't think they need to feel the pressure to perform on social media in that way. And it's really, if we go back to this idea of failing quicker and learning faster, we shouldn't be trying to speak and talk through these platforms. We should be trying to elevate the other people who are creating really cool work and who are inspiring us and learning from them and maybe resharing them, sure, but there shouldn't be a need for us at this young stage in our lives while we're still trying to develop and grow to constantly post and to speak. We should listen. And so that's what I'm taking.
Or feel the pressure of that. Like,
feel
if it's not to your second degree, like, it's not in your nature to be that public about everything on your social platform, because there's some people, like, they come out knowing this is it, this is my
that's them
thing, and I like it, this is where I express myself, this is where I feel closer to who I am. And I had that same realization as well, letting go of the pressure with that. But for me, what I'm definitely letting go in 22 is the need to impress. And with that idea that I always stuck with, I felt like I needed to be very present on Instagram. But to be honest, I hate it. Hate Instagram with a passion. Like, when I tell you I would post, get right off, comments freak me out. Just like, it's a lot. It's not my second nature. And so that's definitely something I want to get comfortable, is knowing my presence in other spaces. And so, and knowing as well and having confidence that it's not necessarily in Instagram, but it can be in other spaces and places, and that's what I'm venturing out to do. But and
that's not to say that social media isn't a beneficial addition to our society. That's not the point that I want to convey.
I'm thinking about making it private.
Right. I love that for you.
Like, I might just take one more step.
Yeah, take it further.
Because I just want it to be a creative space where I can look at it and be like,
like a mood board of sorts.
Exactly.
Right. Just knowing the purpose and knowing why you're on the platform, I think, is super important, because it can be so negative and bad for mental health. And I think over time, sometimes in the past, that's the way that I internalized it. It wasn't healthy for me to be on the platforms. And you'll find yourself just spending aimless amount of time sitting here scrolling. You're not even getting anything out of it. And I just want to be clear on why I'm on these platforms. So for me, that's going to be one of the things that I am releasing myself from. I'm not going to be doing that as much in the future. I like this for me too. And I mean, I've already been living this out. This is just the first time that I'm sharing it publicly in this way. I mean, we alluded to it a little bit in the previous episode, but this is definitely something that I'm bringing with me. I've been practicing it for a little bit, and that's me in a nutshell in regards to social media.
Here I have a question. So how are us Aftergrads celebrating our birthdays in this Aftergrad moment? Are we spending money? Are we going out? Are we keeping things low?
I feel so guilty spending money. That's honestly the emotion that I'm feeling, and I know I'm saying that on my birthday, but that's just the way that I feel.
Why? Like, why don't you want to celebrate? You know? Do you feel like we should stretch ourselves out to make the celebration happen? I mean, some girls and guys out there want to do a little thing for themselves.
Right, and they should. I support them in that. I want to see that for them. For me, I've generally never liked celebrating my birthday. That's a personal thing. Honestly, if I'm being entirely open, I feel very awkward on my birthday. Something about the...
Spiritually?
Yeah, I guess. Spiritually, socially, even. This idea, of people... on one day, I know it's the day that I was born, but just, finding the energy to reach out feels very disingenuous, quite honestly. And as much as I love to catch up with people that I haven't spoken to for a minute, receive the birthday wishes from my friends, I want to be honest with the way that it makes me feel and why I feel awkward about it sometimes, because I've just always been one, when I think of you, I'm going to reach out. So something about the birthday being the day where people reconnect for all of 2 seconds feels a little weird.
I guess people enjoy that because it reminds them that there's people who appreciate them existing. Right.
Absolutely.
And if it wasn't for this day, they would not have.
Yeah. And as they should,
such as you,
right. No, and it's funny because when it's other people's birthdays, I'm right there.
No, same.
I will let you know it's your day.
I'm lit for Kane.
It's your day.
I'm super lit for Kane. But the minute my birthday comes around, I'm literally like this.
Yeah, please don't perceive me. Don't look at me.
Please don't.
Because I'm just trying to get through it. I'm just trying to get through the day so that I can go on with my life. And, you know, maybe that's just where I'm at. I definitely have visions for what I want my birthday to be.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about these visions.
Right, they're not happening now. But, you know, once I get to a particular place in life, I mean, it's definitely going to be an international birthday. We're going to be flued out immediately. We're going to Europe, somewhere, Greek islands, I don't know.
Yeah.
Italy, Rome, somewhere, right? And the whole crew is going to be there.
Period.
Okay? It's going, I don't know what it's going to look like. Drag shows, museums, parties, beach clubs, all of that. That's going to be the vibe. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm just in this hustle moment. I'm just trying to get my life.
I was always like, it's all or nothing. So for me right now, it's nothing.
It's nothing
much.
Yeah,
nothing
simple.
much, because the all will come. A lot of my friends know I don't like to do much at all, but I do like to participate in some activity that is just fulfilling and like fills my cup. And it does mean getting away from people because I might be antisocial, high key. So it's normally now I'm really liking the idea of just finding myself in nature on my birthday until that all day comes where I can, you know, fly people out and stuff like that. So yeah, just getting away, nature trail, something light, friend nearby, notifications off until tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is also the first time that I'm experiencing a birthday when I'm not in university or not in a school setting. So then there's also that too.
It's like you have to put in the work to do your own birthday.
Right, no, literally, because there were all these traditions back on campus where people would toss me into a pond. That was a thing on our campus. It was midnight on your birthday. They would come and pick you up from your dorm. And if you said yes or no, you were going in that pond. Like, they would carry you.
They knew not to try
Well, yeah. Certain people would be like, don't try it. Like, at all. But that was the tradition. So it was just very little work. You know, there would be people who would have a bottle of wine ready for you. They would have the presents.
You don't have to think
about it because you got your friends right there close by.
And before that, it was high school. Happy birthday to your parents. Parents came through.
Gotta put in work and energy and time to plan it.
It literally has to be on your dime to celebrate your birthday.
That's weird. I don't know. Maybe that's all the more reason why I'm just like, I'm fine. Let me just chill. Let me just...
Well, in celebration, we have to open up the gifts.
Oh my God.
So I have a gift for Robert. This is one of many to come.
Oh my gosh.
So... I know you don't look. This draggy ass.
Look, we were simple.
I had a really cute box, y'all. Then I messed up the gift.
That's okay.
I messed up the writing.
It's always the thought that counts.
Put it, yeah. Okay. This definitely.
I know you're a Taurus. I am at. You love a good packaging.
So this is stressing me.
This is right as you're handing it to me. You're like, please love it.
But yes, I mean, as we talk about your birthday, I know, like, you, as we were saying, like, putting in the money yourself, it's exhausting to have to celebrate yourself.
Right.
But it's needed. For me, it's something I highly value is just doing something to look back and be like, oh, I did do that. Right? So I know you.
Yeah.
So this is from me.
Oh, thank you, friend.
But there's more to come from other people.
You're so sweet. Oh, from other people? Oh, you're so sweet. Oh.
You can read it. It's just a note, y'all.
Happy birthday, Kane. A trip to New York City on me, March 5th, 2022. More to unpack soon. We go to New York City! We going to New York. We going to New York. Okay. Oh my God.
Yes.
We going to New York?
We're going to New York.
Next flight. New York. I'm shook.
Because we gotta celebrate.
We do. Oh my God. It's crazy because we had a New York trip planned back in January. It was canceled. We decided it wasn't the moment. But what a way to recover, friend. Thank you.
Yes, just a little trip. You said you like to travel, so this is a little something.
Facts.
A little bus trip.
A little bus trip.
What to?
Oh my gosh.
But we'll vlog all of this to come because again, we want it to be affordable too.
Right. So, it has to be.
Yeah.
That's the only option.
We will be sharing this plan to share with y'all because everyone should celebrate.
Right.
Everyone should celebrate. It doesn't take much. And from the family and friends around you, anything can happen.
Right. Oh
so
my
y'all
gosh.
are going to see what the heck is going to happen.
Oh my God, you got people in on it. I just want to predict because obviously there'll be something to come. I don't know what it is, but I feel like she contacted my parents, namely my dad, and I feel like my dad is going to be up in New York City because he's been a little there's energy, there's certain energy, and I'm very intuitive. So we'll see. We'll see, because my dad, he said a comment, he was like, it was like, I'll see you soon, right? But like, you don't know when. No, because you know what it was? You know what it was? Here it is. I just got off the phone with him. He sent me my birthday wish. He sent me a virtual e-card. Thanks, Dad. I appreciate you.
Aww.
And then he said, I'm going to try and find time to get up there in the coming weeks or something like that. That's what he said. So, Dad, if I see you in New York City, that would be lovely. I don't know what's about to go down, but I'm excited.
He doesn't. Everything is up to surprise, but it's beyond me. This is just the first leg from me, and then there's so much more to come.
Much more. The fact that there's so much more to come after this is already
Taurus is, and I'm a Scorpio rising, so I'm very like secretive, even though I hate secrets.
Right.
Just so you know, that's why I hate surprises.
Yeah.
Who likes surprise parties? Not me, but you're being surprised.
I'm being surprised, and so I'm just gonna deal with it. I'm gonna take it. I appreciate it. I receive it. Thank you. The warm energy is felt.
Yeah.
I'm 23 today. Honestly, I haven't even taken a moment for that to sink in. I'm 23.
How does that feel? Do you have you gotten those thoughts like, oh my god, I'm old yet?
Yes. I mean, I'm older, obviously, and I mean.
But do you feel like you have to watch?
No.
Like, when does that moment happen where people feel like they have to watch the wrinkles and all that stuff?
I don't know. I mean, getting old is kind of a fear of mine. It's like a light fear.
Really?
You know? Yeah, somewhat. I mean, I just want to stay young and youthful. And on the topic of getting old, we had snow a while back, and we've mentioned that before. I busted my knee, and my knee still has not recovered. No, I'm literally hobbling.
Oh no!
Like when I'm going on my runs, I've told you
this.
this.
So it's happening.
Yeah, I guess so. My body's not healing
as fast
as it normally does, and that's a problem. It needs to do better. No, because it's actually in pain. We gotta
start taking care of ourselves now.
We do. Yeah.
Self-care video coming soon.
Yeah. No. I honestly, I'm not even about to front. I haven't been taking care of this knee. I haven't. I haven't even gone to the doctor to get it checked out. But I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm just relying on the fact that I'm young, but
not soon. We're getting older.
Yeah.
And this is the part where my dad would always tell me, he's like, before you know it, boom, you're gonna be old. I'm like, wait, what?
What? I don't get to live first? It just happens?
But it just, like, where's the gradual warm-up to getting old? But I guess that's the beginning. It's like a knee thing here, a little wrinkle there, gray hair, sticking up.
Right.
That hasn't, I mean, one of them has happened.
I feel like I've seen a few gray hairs every now and then. I pluck them immediately. You got to go. Not, if it wasn't dyed, you need
not
to.
23.
Not 23. So, 22.
Yeah.
23.
I feel like we're given a lot of power. And when I say that, I mean either whether or not you went to college or did go to college, you're coming out with education either from high school, you're coming out with stories, with a background, a place you call home. And what do you do with that, right? So you have an idea, also you have fantasies that you thought about up until this moment as to what would be next, and you got a lot of adrenaline going through you, like this is it, let's go. And that brings forth a lot of power. To me, I translate it as power, right? And so now, to be honest, 22 is not, it's not all of that. It's not about like giving it now. It's not about showing off about what you have in you that's, you know, irking you to do something with, right? And so it's a moment of, it's a humbling moment.
It's a humbling moment, right?
Now.
To learn from people that you're with, to learn from people who you're in lockstep with, right? So that you can just learn how to use your power, but also learn from your environment, right?
Right, because now you have things on the table that you have responsibility for as well, in terms of bills and in terms of, you know, navigating the career and so forth, and
moving,
all of those all of those things kind of just take a little from you. They do take a little from you, and you have to, in the midst of all that, stay true to yourself, and that is why we started this channel in the first place. But in addition to that, it humbles you. It makes you bare and vulnerable, and now where I am at a spot where I'm like, okay, so this is not all that glamorous. And, you know, I don't know
And that's
everything.
okay, too. I think it's totally fine.
I don't know anything at all. And I'm okay with letting people know that I don't know anything. But also, I do know that the girl who came out with a lot of things on her to-do list that she wanted to do, that power, right? She's still there. I'm not, like, disregarding her.
Of course.
But she is bowing down to the people who have found their power and have found how it fits in this world. And so it's, like you said, taking on that student role. And it looks different in a lot of different spaces.
Right.
I think for some people listening, it could be that entry level job. You probably came in thinking you would get paid this amount of money, but that entrance level is actually this amount of money.
Right.
But it's learning those who came before me, right? It's also a mentor. Right. I got a mentor.
Yes.
Now,
we both have a mentor, right? And they're pouring into us.
Exactly.
And I think mentors are so key too to the journey too of finding your power, because they're people hopefully that have a little bit more wisdom than you. They're people that have lived on this earth a little bit longer. They have more experience and they can pour into you, and you can watch them. If it's a mentor that looks like someone who's working in an industry that you're interested in, or just has knowledge that you couldn't possibly have, that's how you can strengthen your power and grow quicker and reach your peak, or reach the point that you want to get to sooner,
and keep a reflection of who you remind you that you have the power as well, because you just doing it all by yourself and going out and just remind yourself, it gets a little tiring, and to hear it from someone else as well, and then hear a plan on how we can get you to here, right? It's just, it's really nice. Or fellowships. Right now in 23, 22, 23, there's a lot of fellowship opportunities that I'm seeing popping up. You hit me up on one.
I shared one with you for your industry. That's a real one. Yeah, that's what I do. I don't send memes. I send professional development opportunities to my friend. I'm just
so he sent me like a venture capitalist fellowship. I'm super excited. Put my application in immediately.
You submitted that thing so quickly. I love that. The night of, I said, Victoria, I think this is up. Send it. Go ahead. Run it. Run it. And it's completed. Meant for me, it's meant for me. And if they see the vision. Right. But if you don't get a call back, cool. Moving on to the next. And I think that's the energy that I'm internalizing for myself. All we can do is try. All we can do is use the power that we've acquired thus far to put ourselves forward and to present ourselves as best as we possibly can.
Exactly. And that's why, like, I'm really grateful for that op you sent my way, because it was fellowship, right? Not entry level, not the other fellowship. So I don't know how much I'm going to get paid, but it was a description that really describes the moment of 23 and kind of 22. For us right now, it was like encouraging those with ideas and with innovation and who needs guidance in that. And I was like, oof, that speaks. I don't know how much y'all are going to pay, but that speaks. That
and it spoke directly to the post-grad moment. I think I saw in the post description that they were looking for people that aren't in university. They are people that have
they were looking for innovators, who are really wanting to change the game and who believe in themselves as well. And goes to the show we're watching. I mean, there's a lot of things, a lot of little things that have been around us that I feel like speaks to this moment as well. Avatar.
The Last Airbender. Not the blue people.
Help me get it right.
Yes, The Last Airbender.
Help me get it right. Who we talking about? What those characters?
Aang, Sokka, Katara, and Toph. That's the crew. That's the crew.
So
Earth,
we
swordsmanship.
We did a throwback moment. And I love watching it.
It's such a good show with a phenomenal concept.
He's so playful yet so powerful. And yet he embodies humbleness too.
And he is a student of the game.
I think that's
his energy, Aang's energy that he uses throughout the show. I mean, he's constantly learning and is always aware that he can't do it
all by himself.
And he's totally aware of that. He needs these masters to come and train him, mentors for us to come and pour into him. Although it is his duty to the world to be this vessel to bring peace and order and stability to the community of the 4 nations. And that's his purpose, and the world recognizes that purpose, and they're willing
to help him to, like, there's so many power he has the friends and then he has the monks himself, and then he goes on these spiritual journeys with the monks, but then he also has his friends who got his back in the battles.
And he can seamlessly move and shift between the role of master and student. He has the people that are supporting him along his journey to eventually defeat the Fire Lord. But then there's also his responsibility that no one else can assume, which is defeating the Fire Lord. But he couldn't do that alone. He needed those people to pour into him.
So to me, that's the definition of 23. That's what 23 looking like for me. It's not cocky, it's not ostentatious, it's not boastful. It is just knowing me, but in the midst of knowing me, I know that I have work to do underneath other people and with other people as well. I think Baisha was saying, I love this line from him. It's not about going upward, but about stretching across. I love that.
Networking. I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but it's networking across and not networking up always. Sometimes it's cool to network up, but oftentimes it's about the people that are in lockstep and exactly where you're at. You know, it's nice to meet a mentor who is a few steps ahead of you, but to have someone like you and I, like the people that we have in our community who are walking this journey at the exact same stage as we are,
right,
they can still be your mentors too,
right?
It doesn't always have to be someone who is a few steps ahead in their career. It can be someone who's at the same steps, equally as clueless as yourself, and you could still learn something from them. And I know we've harped on that too. I've learned from you, you've learned from me, and that's the beauty of not always thinking of yourself as needing to be this know-it-all or knowledgeable person. Like, please live in cluelessness. Live in cluelessness. I think it's a beautiful space to be in. I'm starting to like it a little bit. I love it. I'm quite comfortable. I'm not going to stay here for long. I'm going to move. Right. But at least in the immediate, I'm going to be okay with being clueless on certain things. And I think that's definitely not a narrative that is expressed for undergrads and this stage of our life. You need to have everything planned, honey. It needs to be this way. You need to be right here at this point in life. No more.
Please look at this. Please look at this. And I can't wait to grow up and look back at this. To look back at this moment and be more grateful for my clueless self.
Yeah, I'm gonna laugh at him.
I mean, like, you thought.
You really did. You tried it.
But you pretty mature for knowing that you are clueless now.
I know I'm going
to be grateful for this mentality that we are living out right now.
So that's our reflection. That's my reflection. I'm turning 23 today.
Woo!
Thank you for all the birthday wishes. Thank you, Fred. We're going to New York. We're going to New York.
Darling.
This is my second time going. We're still going to throw down. This will be my second time in New York. I'm excited. Aftergrads, that's our episode. Thank you for tuning in. Definitely follow us on Instagram at the Aftergrad Podcast.
If you enjoyed our visual version, please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. There you can be notified of our latest releases.
Also, Aftergrads, we want to hear from you. So if you have a question, comment, concern, or life situation that pertains to being an Aftergrad, definitely share those with us over at our email address, which is theaftergradpodcast@gmail.com, or DM us on Instagram, which again is at the Aftergrad Podcast.
And finally, we would really appreciate a 5-star review. Not only does this make us happy, but this helps grow our community of fellow Aftergrads.
Well, that's all for now. Thank you for tuning in, watching, or listening. And with that, this is the Aftergrad Podcast. Peace.
Ciao. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Bye for now.